Hi, welcome back to ODE YouTube channel. Today I'm showing you the pens that I have with ink for February 2022. First, I want to say that I'm showing this video very late in the month. I usually like to do it in the beginning, but I had no time, and now because I'm publishing it the last day of February, or at least I'm recording it at the last day of February, I will not do the pens for March also very soon, so sometimes that's a problem. There was nothing wrong for this to happen, just lots of work of my real job, so I didn't have the time to make as many videos as I wished, so I think you all understand that sometimes there are some priorities that come forward. So let's start with this video that will be long, of course, as usual. In January I had 60 pens in ink to show you, and now this month I have 52. Just to clear this out for some people that are not used to watch these kind of videos, I don't ink all these pens in the beginning of the month and then I clean them all at the end of the month. There are pens that have been inked for ages, some other pens that I ink just for I ink them just once and then I need to I go through them and they get empty and I just clean it. So there are lots of pens that still have inks from the Diamine Inkvent calendar, so that's why there are so many pens still with ink. I've been using some and the number is reducing, but there's still lots of way to go. So some of the pens that I'm showing you have quite low levels of ink, so maybe some may fail, but we'll see that. Let's start with the first pen. And the first pen that I want to show you is this pen that I really love. And each time I ink this pen, I wonder why did I had it before without being inked. This pen is really an amazing pen in my opinion. This is the, let me just change the light because of the shadows. This pen is an Aurora and I really love this pen. I think this pen is very close to perfection. So this is the Aurora Duo card. I hope the white balance is correct. Things look a little bit more yellowish than usual, but I hope everything is okay with the camera. Aurora Duo card in yellow with a medium steel nib, and let me show you the nib focus. Why isn't this focusing? Sorry. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. I just fixed the definitions of the camera. I was taking some shots yesterday. I usually don't make photographs with my phone, but I did have changed the settings, so it was all wrong. So this is the nib of the Aurora Duo card. It is a semi-hooded nib made of steel and it is a medium nib. The pen is a cartridge converter pen and I really enjoy it, and I love the color, of course. And inside, now it's failing, I think this one may not have that much ink. No, it does. But I was with it uncapped for a while I was fixing the camera. And inside it has one of my favorite inks ever, which is the Parker Quink Black. It is a vintage ink that I have here. This pen writes well with no feedback, not anything special about the nib, just a medium steel nib, and there is no other option for this nib. The next pen I have is this beautiful thing that I showed you before. This is the Benu Ambrosia, and Benu Ambrosia has these flowers there. So this is the Benu. It is quite uncommon because of all this glitter and the material, and when you look at this pen, you know immediately it is a Benu pen. It's Benu Ambrosia. The color is brown orchid, and it has a medium nib. The nib on this pen is medium by Schmidt. It is a generic nib, with no branding by Benu, but I find these nibs on Benu are quite good. This pen is a cartridge pen only, or you may use a short Kaweco cartridge converter, otherwise it will not fit a converter there. And you can also eyedropper the pen if you prefer. I don't. And it has inside Leonardo, Officina Italiana, purple ink. This nib is nice, it has a little feedback, it writes really well, and this pen is quite amazing, and it will be in a giveaway someday. The next pen is another Benu, and this is my favorite Benu of them all. It is more simple, more subtle, all grey, black, and it has some glitter, but it is mostly grey and black, and I like that, and also the fact it is a big pen, as you may see. So this is the Benu Euphoria, and the color is called Caviar. It also has a medium steel nib, again a Schmidt nib, but this one is a number 6, the other one was a number 5. This is in the steel color, the other one is gold plated, and the ink it has is the Diamine Inkvent Calendar from 2021, number 9, Tempest. And I hope you can see, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see, but there is some glitter with this ink. This pen is quite good for that because it is really wet, this medium nib. It is a cartridge converter pen, international kind, and you can also eyedropper this pen if you like. I don't. The next pen that I have here is this one. I think this one is very fun. This is and I think you know this logo. This is a Diplomat, and it is a very nice school pen which used to take special Diplomat cartridges, but you can fit a modern cross cartridge, and so you're done with it. So that's good. It is purple and I like it, although it's called lilac, but for me lilac, purple are all the same. So this is the Diplomat Pop 505 lilac, and with a fine steel nib. The nib is like this, very simple. It has the same cross, which is the logo, and the fine is written there. So fine, and inside it has Diamine Inkvent Calendar 2021, number 5, Harmony. And this is kind of a stiff nib and very fine, so you can use this forever because it will take forever to spend all the ink you have, because it really uses a very small amount of ink. I'm not sure, I'm thinking about this and I think there's an A missing there. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't remember anymore my my notes, it doesn't say there, it just says the Diplomat and the cross. The next pen is this one that I don't know how to call it. It is the Faber-Castell Writink or Writink. It has kind of a fingerprint molded in rubber over a plastic barrel, and then it has this nib with the logo of Faber-Castell, and it has a medium, and it is this kind of nib that kind of points down. It's not in the same line as the pen, it is curved down. It is a black one, so everything in this pen is black except for that little rivet that makes the clip do this. So this is the Faber-Castell Writink, let's call it this way, with a medium steel nib that I showed you with those little dots there, the M and then the Faber-Castell logo, with the diamine Inkvent calendar 2021 number 10, which is called Peach Punch. And this is kind of a stiff nib, I would say. Also very inexpressive if you like pens with line variation and stuff. This is not the right pen for you. It is a school pen, very affordable, and it performs really well. Just that. The next pen is a pen made of steel, and I love steel pens. This pen is from the brand Gravitas, and it is made by Ben Walsh, and he makes amazing stuff. I also have a pocket pen that he makes. It's not inked right now, and I'm waiting for him to release a pocket pen in copper with skulls, and I will get that one also for my collection. This is a very interesting pen. I need to review it. I didn't do it yet. I'm not sure why. I think just lack of time. It has a very standard steel nib made by Yovo with no customization there, but I think it tunes the pen a little bit so it writes really well. It's very heavy, but it is amazing. It is a cartridge converter pen that will take international sized cartridges or converters, and this is the Gravitas stainless steel skull edition with a medium nib and with Montblanc William Shakespeare ink inside, which is one of my favorite red inks ever. It's really a nice ink. This is really a nice pen. It's heavy, but it is kind of indestructible. I really enjoy it. The next pen will be this one. This is a Jinhao Centennial in blue. This material is nice. It reminds us of a Parker Duofold, and yes, you can check my video on pens that are inspired by Parker Duofold. So this is the Jinhao Centennial in blue with a medium steel nib. It is a two-tone steel nib by Jinhao with that engraving of 18 kgp, and it has inside a sheening ink, which is the Diamine Inkvent Calendar 2021 number 12 Stargazer, and this is quite a good nib. It works well, it is wet, and it is a real medium, so this is a very, very nice pen to have, the Jinhao Centennial. And because I like this kind of shape of pen, I will take out another Jinhao Centennial that I have around. This pen is most of the times inked with a mix of inks. It's getting very dirty inside. I'm not sure how really permanently stained the cap is, but and it is semi-transparent there. I need to clean it, but not yet. And this is the Jinhao Centennial in the koi finish, because of this kind of koi fish color scheme, with a food nib, and which is the nib that makes this shape, but it is the same nib as the other Jinhao Centennial, just with a different shape of the tip, and it has some ink mix inside. With this pen you don't have any line variation because of the nib, but it works like this, or you can work with it more in the vertical and it will deliver a kind of line like this, or you can work with it upside down and you'll have even a finer line. So it is mostly a fun nib to play with. I use it sometimes when I need to write notes for my videos. If I want to write really big or to think out loud in big sheet of paper, sometimes I use this pen. It is more close to a felt tip marker. That's why I use this kind of nib. The next pen has the same kind of design, and it is the Kaigelu 316 in the color Tiger Eye, which is a nice one. I think so, at least. And it is quite heavy, this pen. It has this Kaigelu M nib with a kangaroo there engraved, and it is a pen that works quite well. So this is the Kaigelu 316 Tiger Eye. It has the medium steel nib that I showed you, and inside it has diamine Inkvent calendar 2021 number 22 black ivy. One thing that I want to talk to you is about sometimes the pens don't dry as well as they should in this kind of video. It has kind of an explanation, because some of the pens I'm using more frequently and some ran out of ink, some others I don't use that much. And for the pens that I don't use that much, some of them have been inked almost for 3 months now, since I started the Inkvent calendar, and so they are still with ink, and sometimes the ink will evaporate a little bit and get thicker, and sometimes the ink flow is not as good. It's not necessarily a fault of the pen. This one is a Kaigelu, also with the Kaigelu logo, the kangaroo there. This is the Kaigelu 316A, which is a little different because it is lighter. It doesn't have black parts on the pen. It has a different cap band. And this one has a fine steel nib. This one, and I think about that, it is stained there. Some ink got in between the nib collar and the section walls. So I wonder if when I clean this pen this will come out, or if this will stain, because this ink is kind of a burgundy ink, so maybe it will stain the pens. That's my experience with some burgundy inks. We will see. So this is the Kaigelu 316A in blue with a fine steel nib. This is very, very smooth, and it has diamine Inkvent calendar 2021 number 25. It's called All the Best, and it writes really well. It's really a very nice pen. So I think this will be my next priority to write with, to get it empty and then to try to clean it. You can see the material. The material is just amazing, and you'll see if it stained permanently or not. And now we change for one of my favorite brands ever, at least one that I am obsessed with, and so we'll spend a little time with this. And this is the Kaweco AL Sport Hello Kitty, which is a fun little pen, pink, and let's write with it. So this is the Kaweco AL Sport, this is special edition, AL Sport Hello Kitty, with a fine steel nib, gold plated, and the nib has the face of Hello Kitty there. It's a fun little pen. Otherwise it is a regular Kaweco pen, but it has Hello Kitty face. And the ink it has inside is Divine Design, which is a German brand as far as I can understand, with, sorry, not with, Divine Design pink. And you know, I think by now you know everything about Kaweco Sport. I am an obsessive collector. This writes well, very simple pen. I really like it. It's pink, but I guess this is one of my favorite pink pens. I don't have that many pink pens. The next one is a very rare thing to show. It is this. It is a Kaweco Art Sport. And this is a very rare one. So this is the Kaweco Art Sport. The Art Sports are pens that are made of some resin which is turned inside instead of plastic that is molded in amber, with a medium premium nib by Kaweco. These new nibs, they have premium, you can see premium, medium. It is very wet, very smooth, with Kaweco Caramel Brown. This is an ink that you'll see a lot in today's video. Sorry about that, not that much of variety. The next pen is another Kaweco Art Sport. Where is the engraving that I wanted to show you? Where is that? Where is that? Or the embossing? There. Kaweco Art. It's not easy to show, but believe me, it's written there. Kaweco Art Sport, and this is the Mambo color, which is a very interesting design. This is from generation 1 of Kaweco Art Sports, and the amber was from the generation 2, and there is a generation 3. So this is the Kaweco Art Sport Mambo with a medium gold nib, and the ink is again Kaweco Caramel Brown, and this one has a little bit more of a bounce. Let me show you how the gold nib looks like. It's this. If you want to see it closer, you have a video where I compare the gold with the premium and with the steel nib, if you want to see that. Now we'll go for the biggest news, the most one of the funnest pens that recently were released, and it's this one. This is the Kaweco Collection, and this is the pearl, the iridescent pearl, and you can see it has some, it is kind of iridescent, but it's very hard to show on camera, so really hard. It is slightly translucent, so if I do that you can see the nib and the section. You can see them through, but it is an interesting pen. It has engraved there Kaweco Collection, so it is this kind of special edition, and it has a steel extra fine nib. So this pen was provided to me by Kaweco for review. It is a fun pen because it sometimes under the lighting it looks more on the blue side, sometimes it looks more on the pink side. So this is the Kaweco Collection. It's not called Kaweco Sport, but the model is a Sport. Kaweco Collection Iridescent pearl with an extra fine nib, and inside it has Kaweco Paradise Blue. This ink is very light. The nib is an extra fine, so it's not that visible, but I wanted an ink by Kaweco that would be kind of a very good pair for this pen, and I think this ink is nice without being a very special ink with color changes and all that stuff. The next pen is another Kaweco Collection, and this is the other release. This one is called Kaweco Collection instead of Liliput, but it is the Liliput, and it's called Kaweco Collection Liliput Green, and it is a fun little green pen. Also a cartridge converter pen, which has a medium steel nib. And let's see it. So this is the Kaweco Collection Liliput Green with a medium steel nib, and inside it has Kaweco Palm Green. This is a very good, very smooth nib. This is an interesting pen. It's very slim, so it may not be for everyone. It only will accept the Kaweco cartridges or the small bulb converter, but it's really a very nice pen. It is a very nice color. I really think this was a very good idea, but because it was released at the same time as the previous one, I think the previous one will be even a bigger success than this one. But that one, we need to think about it because it's really fun. The next pen I have here is another Kaweco Collection. I've been showing this pen for some time. It's still with ink, and mostly because it is an extra fine nib and it has red ink inside. I don't write that much in red, and with an extra fine nib it takes forever to run out. It is made of aluminium, it is a long pen, it will take cartridge or converters, even the long ones. So this is the Kaweco Collection, but this model is the model Special Red. I have to say that this extra fine nib is a little bit more scratchy than the nib on the Sport Iridescent Pearl, so this is not as perfect, but I have to say that I don't love Kaweco extra fine nibs. I love the fine and medium, but this was the one that Kaweco provided me for review. I have to say that these three pens and the next one were provided for me or to me by Kaweco and some other. Actually, I think all the Kaweco from now to the end of the Kaweco pens were provided to me by Kaweco for review. So this one has an extra fine steel gold plated nib that I showed you, so anything new there, with the ink inside, which is the Mont Blanc William Shakespeare, which is, as I told you before, one of my favorite red inks, the same ink that I have on inside the Gravitas there. But it looks very different on paper because one is an extra fine and the other is a very wet medium. The next one is a Kaweco Sport, but also from the Kaweco Collection, and it is made of metal. so an interesting one. Also with a gold-plated medium steel nib. So this is the Kaweco Collection, and this is called Vibrant Violet with a medium steel nib, and the ink inside is Kaweco Purple Summer Purple. Sorry, sometimes I don't remember everything easily. There are so many inks, so many stuff that sometimes my head can't keep up with all that. And it's the end of the day now, so sometimes. And I'm getting older, I have to say that too. So, the next one is a Kaweco Liliput, also provided to me by Kaweco. This one is the copper version, the same size as the green one. This one has a clip that is removable. I could put this on the green one, but this one is much heavier. This one is made of aluminium, this one is made of copper, so very different weights. So this is called Kaweco Liliput Copper with a fine steel nib, very dirty with some dried ink there. I don't know for how long I don't clean this pen, for ages, but it still works well. And inside it has some ink mix, some mix of inks. Not really an ink mix that I make to get a special color, but kind of a mix of several remains of ink. It's not something that you should do, but I trust this pen to keep up with that. So this is a fun little pen. I love copper pens, as you know by now. And three Kaweco to go. This is a Perkeo, the all clear version. It has a nib similar to the nib on the Sport, and it is a full-sized pen that takes full-size cartridges. So this is the, or a converter also, this is the Kaweco Perkeo all clear with a fine steel nib, and inside it has Kaweco Palm Green. And you may ask me, where did I find a large or a long Kaweco cartridge? I didn't. There aren't long Kaweco cartridges. It's just an empty, long, international sized cartridge that I filled with Kaweco Palm Green ink from a bottle. The next one is my most expensive pen ever, also sent to me by Kaweco, and it is the Kaweco Sterling Sport. It's getting a little bit older, but not that much patina yet. This one has a steel nib, rhodium plated. Sorry, a gold nib, rhodium plated, and this pen is a beauty and very heavy. So this one is the very unobtainable Kaweco Sterling Sport with a fine gold nib. This one has some feedback and I love that. And inside it has also the Kaweco Caramel Brown. And it has some bounce, and I love this pen. This is amazing, and I'm forever thankful to Kaweco for sending me such a special pen for review. The next pen is the final Kaweco of today, so lots of Kaweco pens, and it's this one. This is the Kaweco Student, which has the same nib as all the others, but this one is still gold colored medium. It is made of plastic with a metal section, and it is a long sized one, so you can fit two cartridges back to back, or a long cartridge or a long international converter. So this is the Kaweco Student. This color is called 20s Jazz, and it has a fine steel nib, and inside it has Kaweco caramel brown ink. And this is how it behaves. It is a quite nice pen. I like this. I don't love white, but this white ivory, this ivory white color, it is kind of fun. And we are done with Kaweco for today, and we'll go to the next brand, which is Lamy. I'm going through them in alphabetical order, and this is the Lamy Dialog. This pen, this is the Lamy Dialog 3 in matte black color, and this pen has the gold medium nib with some two-tone gold accents there, and this was sent to me by Appleboom for review. This one still has to be made, but it will be out soon, a review of this pen. So this is the, not Kaweco, sorry. This is the Lamy. It's very wet and quite broad, but this is how Lamy nibs go. This is the Lamy Dialog 3 in matte black with a medium steel nib that I showed, medium gold nib that I just showed you, and it has the Parker Quink black. And I have to say, sometimes when I have to do some comparisons with pens or something like that, many times I use the Parker Quink black. It is a vintage ink, but it's a safe ink. It is an ink that I love to use, and I know how it behaves inside pens. So it's sometimes nice to show you with pens. This pen has some bounce and it works really well, but it's very, very wet. You need to use good paper to use this pen. So I think I use the Parker Quink black a little bit. Has Wasky Squirrel, who uses the Parker Quink washable blue. It's kind of the standard ink of the channel, although I use many others. And the next pen is also a Lamy, and this is the Lamy Dialog CC in white. This also was sent to me as a loan by Appleboom for review. This one has a broad nib, and it has a rose gold colored stripe there on the nib. It is different, it doesn't have a clip, and I will do also a review of this one and the comparison between this CC with the Dialog 3. So this is the Lamy Dialog, and this is one very hard for me to write with a pen like this. CC in white with a broad nib, and for me it's too broad, with Parker Quink black. And look at this. I would say it has kind of a stubbish kind of grind, because the vertical strokes are fatter than the horizontal ones, so it retracts by doing this. Fun pen. Thank you, Appleboom. I will do the videos with them and then I'll send it back to you. This is another pen that was sent to me by Appleboom. This is the Lamy Ideos, and it has this drop shape with a clip on the side. So it's a very different pen from everything else, I would say, but it is a very Lamy-ish pen. It has a section that reminds us of the Lamy Studio and the nib that reminds us of the Lamy Ion. This one is an extra fine. So this is the made of steel. This is the Lamy Ideos, and this one has an extra fine nib, and inside it has a Lamy blue ink cartridge, and this is an extra fine nib, as you can see, although the extra fine by Lamy is not that extra fine. I would say there are some brands that have fines that look like this. Nice pen, interesting one, but it just has a bit of play everywhere. I wouldn't say this is my favorite Lamy pen, but in terms of design, I think it's a very clever one. And we'll stay with Lamy. This is the last one. This is a Lamy Safari in yellow with black trim, also with black nib, and also with an extra fine nib. And this one takes cartridges or converters like all the other Lamys that I showed you today. This is the Lamy Safari in yellow with an extra fine steel nib with this black coating, and inside it has diamine Inkvent calendar 2021 color number 7 candle light. This is a kind of a yellowish color. It's not the best to show on camera, mostly with an extra fine nib, but I wanted back then when I made the videos on the Inkvent calendar to match somehow the colors with the inks. That's why I chose this one. So let's turn the page and go on with our video. Maybe we reached half of the video, not even half. Okay, but let's go for the pen that makes half of the video right now. Okay, and the next pen is this red beauty. This is a Leonardo pen, and this is the, I'm in the framing. So Leonardo Officina Italiana Furore Passion Red, and I can understand why they call it Passion Red. It is really an amazing one. It has a steel nib marked as Leonardo. I think you can see it. It is a medium nib, and it's still a Bock nib from when they used Bock nibs. Now they use Jowo. So with a medium steel nib, and ink is diamine Inkvent calendar number 14 red robin. And I like this kind of red on this ink, and I like the writing of this pen. It is a cartridge converter pen. It is numbered somewhere, and it's really, really beautiful pen. And it is a Leonardo. There is no doubt about kind of design. The next pen is also a Leonardo, and it is this beautiful translucent gray pen. This frosted finish. It's so nice. I love this pen. This one has a black coated nib, but this nib is Jowo, that I don't love as much as a Bock nib, but it has a very good ebonite feed. And this one is a piston filler, not a cartridge converter pen. So this is the Leonardo. Let me put this a little bit down. Leonardo. Let me check all the name to be sure. Officina Italiana Pura Anthracite gray with a fine steel nib that I just showed you. That is very similar with that other steel nib, but this one is black. This one has the fine on the side. And the ink it has inside is one of my favorite inks ever, the Montblanc Racing Green, which is a very dark, muddy green that is not available anywhere, almost anywhere, besides my basement, where I have some bottles of it. So I have my stock of this ink for a long time because I really, really love it. And then when I knew this many years ago, this ink would be discontinued, I bought some. I already bought some before because I like the ink so much that I needed to buy, so I I do like that. I'm kind of a hoarder. When I knew it was going to be discontinued, I bought all the others I could, but I still, maybe I have 10 or something like that. This is another pen. This is the short, fat one. This is the Moonman. No, this is no longer called Moonman. This is the Majohn Q1 in transparent. It has a Jinhao nib, and to be a gold one, gold colored one to match the gold colored clip. And this is a eyedropper only pen, but I made it as a cartridge pen because I am kind of a strange person that prefers to have cartridges instead of eyedroppers. You can watch a video that I made with the conversion of this pen from an eyedropper to a cartridge pen. So this is the Majohn Q1 transparent with a medium steel nib. Let me just show you. This is the same nib as you saw on the two Jinhao pens, and inside it has Sheaffer script blue. It is just a very good Jinhao nib, smooth, works well, and the pen is kind of fun. You may say this is kind of a strange shape, and why did I buy it if I didn't like the eyedropper? I bought it because I have a Platinum Glamour and I have a Tombow Egg pen, and if I had those two, I had to have this one also to match that collection. The other two are cartridge converter pens, or just cartridge pens, and I had to have this one and I had to convert it, so I'm happy with this pen, and it's quite good. Very strange shape, but it's kind of comfortable. Now, the next pen I have to show you today is one pen that I have to say it is one of my favorite pens ever. It's maybe strange, but it is still. It is the Nettuno 1911 Black Sands. It's written there, 1911. It is a very nice pen. It has all sea themed things. It has some plating issues. It's now losing the plating also on the waves of the top of the cap. The plating of the nib was terrible, but the nib, which is a Bock nib, is awesome. This is a cartridge converter pen. I wouldn't change the nib for a new one which had no problems with the coating. I don't care. This coating did go well both on the top of the cap or on the nib, but I love this pen. This pen is really amazing. This is the Nettuno 1911 Black Sands. This pen is very well made. We can say it's not well finished in terms of plating, but the other things are perfect. It has a fine steel nib, and ink it has is, let me check, Diamine Inkvent Calendar from 2021, number 5, Harmony. And this pen is amazing. I showed you before, because you can do this, or you can do this. This pen has some bounce. It is amazing to write with. It has the kind of perfect Parker Duofold shape. It is a cartridge converter pen, really, really nice. I'm really happy with this pen. I could write with this pen almost forever. It's that good. I really, really love it. The next pen I have here to show you is a more unusual pen to see. It is a Parker 105 Flighter, which has this very unusual nib, all made of steel. It's a very nice pen. So this is the Parker 105 Flighter. There is also a gold version of this pen. It has a medium steel nib. Let me show you the nib again, like this. No breather hole, very simple, but goes very well with the overall design of the pen. It is a cartridge converter pen with proprietary cartridges or converters from Parker. And the ink it has is Diamine Inkvent Calendar 2021 number. Sorry, I had to check my notes because I can't remember all this. I think it's number 17 Thunderbolt. And this ink and this pen is really a nice match. I don't love blue inks usually, but I think these two go very, very well together. Now, let's move on to another Parker. And this is one model that I love, the Duofold, but this is international size, which means it is a little smaller than the big one that I like more. And this is the Mosaic, which is very interesting finish. And it has a medium gold nib, rhodium plated gold nib. Although the feed is from an extra fine, but it's just the feed. The nib is medium. So this is the Parker International Duofold Mosaic Blue with a medium nib. This pen is amazing. The nibs on the Parker Duofold are that good, are really, really good. Some people don't care much about Parker, but I think Parker is a great brand in some details. Not in everything, I have to say, but in some of the details they are. And it has inside Diamine Inkvent Calendar 2021 number 22 Yuletide. And this is a nice ink, this is a nice pen, this has a perfect flow. This pen is really, really nice, and it is kind of gorgeous. Although I would love it to be the bigger size, but I have to say, for this finish, the Mosaic Blue, which was a limited edition, there is not, or a special edition, because it was not limited in numbers, it was limited in the production time, but there was not a centennial version of this pen, only international. The other two colors that were released, the black and the red, yes, those are available in the international and centennial size. This one only international. The next pen I have is another Parker, and it is a new Parker that I recently bought, and it's this. This is a Parker Vector. Yes, doesn't look like one, but it is. I will talk a little bit more about it when I make the review. It is made of metal, both cap and barrel. The section is made of plastic and it is translucent. It has a very simple nib, which is not beautiful. I don't like it that much. The feed is very ugly, but okay, that's something that I will talk someday when I make the review. It takes proprietary Parker cartridges or converters. The nib is made of steel, and this is the new Parker Vector XL in black. For me, it's very strange to see a Parker Vector with this kind of nib, but that's what it is, and it will be addressed in the review when I make it. It has a fine steel nib that I just showed you, and it has a Parker Quink permanent blue cartridge inside. And the pen, yes, it writes well, it does its job, and it is an inexpensive pen from Parker. So I think this is another thing they are good at what they do. They usually are. The pen that I have now is a pen which is a piston filler with a steel nib, gold-plated steel nib, and it is this Pelikan M200. It was an older edition. It is a fun one. It still has some orange ink inside. So, this is the Pelikan M200 in Anthracite with a fine steel nib, gold plated, that I showed you, which is also losing a little bit of the plating there near the nib slit. And the ink it has is Diamine, Inkvent Calendar 2021, number 23, Wonderland. And it is a fun ink, fun color. This is a nice pen. The next pen is also a M200. It's here, and it was sent to me as a loan by Appleboom for review. This one is the Golden Barrel, which has white endings, and this Golden Barrel matches the ink which is inside. It has a medium nib, also steel nib, and it has lots of shimmer. You can see the particles there on the feed, you can see the particles there, and it has the biggest shimmer I ever saw in an ink. And also the material has shimmer, so there is some shimmering particles on the resin and many shimmering particles on the ink. So this is the Pelikan M200. It was the edition from last year. The Golden Barrel. This is also a review that I need to make with a medium steel nib, and then I will send this pen back to Appleboom. And the ink it has inside is the Pelikan, the ink for this pen. The Pelikan Edelstein Golden Barrel. So if you want to match a pen with the ink, I think this is the best way to go, to find a pen that has the same name and from the same brand and same everything as the ink. So this is what Pelikan thinks it is a perfect match. Now, there we have still some pens to go, so let's do them. We'll change completely, we'll stay on letter P, but we'll change and we'll go to Pilot. And this is a very simple design from Pilot. This is the Pilot Costume 67, an older model with an older look, mostly on the cap bands, I would say. So this is the Pilot Costume 67 in black with gold trim, with a medium gold nib. I think I showed you the nib, but let me show it again. Number 5, you can see the number 5 is Pilot's number 5, which is not the same thing as the international number 5 kind of size of nib that you see on some other brands. And inside it has the Graf von Faber-Castell Hazelnut Brown. This is a very nice bouncy nib that allows you a little line variation. It's a very good nib, very nice pen. The next pen is a very similar one, which is the pen, it's the model that came after this. It has some differences as metal threads and some things like that. And this is the Pilot Costume 74. It is a very good pen in forest green finish, and there you can see the same kind of nib, but this one is also gold, but rhodium plated, very nicely done, very beautiful pen. I would say it takes cartridges or converters by Pilot, but this one takes the very famous Con 70 converter. So this is the Pilot Costume 74 in forest green, with also a medium gold nib, and the ink it has is Diamine, and this one is a little different. Diamine Inkvent Calendar from 2019 Mistletoe, which is a nice warm green, and I think it matches well the pen. The next one is the Pilot Costume 743, which is basically the same pen but bigger. Basically the same pen as the 823, but cartridge converter pen instead of vacuum filler. And you can see it has the number 5 nib. And there is also a 742 that one day I have to buy to have in between the sizes of this one. This is 743. So, Pilot Costume 743 in black, gold trim with a fine gold nib that I showed you, beautiful one. And guess what? Parker Quink black. A very nice nib, more on the stiffer side, but it works really well, and it is a beautiful, very beautiful pen, I would say. Next pen is still a Pilot, and it is this Pilot Lucina. And the Pilot Lucina has a steel nib. It is a smaller nib, kind of a number 5 or number 3 maybe. This is a cartridge converter pen for Pilot cartridges only, but this will not fit the Con 70. This is the Pilot Lucina in red. It has a fine steel nib. I think I showed you, but I'm getting tired and I forget if I showed you the nib or not. There you can see it. And it has inside diamine Inkvent calendar 2021 number 14 red robin, and this is kind of a stiff nib, fine and wet. It's a really good pen. It is a little bit short, but it's really a nice pen, a very good writer. The next one is an iconic pen from Pilot, and it is the Pilot Mew, which is a pocket pen, which means it has a short barrel, very long cap, very long section. But this section has one thing that's very interesting, which is an integral nib, which I know of only in this Pilot Mew and in the predecessor Parker T1, and also on the Parker Falcon or Parker 50. So this is a very beautiful pen. The design is kind of perfect. This is I think this one is getting out of ink, as you may see there. Pilot Mew with a fine nib. It's all made of steel, and it has, I think it's, yes, Parker Quink black. And I have to apologize on this pen. It's not the pen's fault. It's really running out of ink, which is kind of nice because one less pen that I have, and it will go for the box of pens to clean. I have several there to be cleaned now. The next pen, and I think it's the final Pilot, it's a Pilot Petit 1. A very small pocket children pen, I would say, with a steel nib like this. Very simple, but it writes well. Pilot Petit 1 with a fine steel nib, and inside it has some Pilot blue ink from the cartridge that was inside the pen. And you can see perfect performance. So very nice pen, very inexpensive, made of plastic, but it is a fun pen. I just wouldn't use much this clip because I think you can break it quite easily because it's all plastic. The next pen is the Platinum 3776 gathered in black. This is a pen that I wanted to have because I have the Platinum Glamour, and I thought that this pen would make a lot of sense in my collection and I had to buy it. The lighting today is not well, I don't know what I did here that's not working, I'm so sorry. The shadows are terrible today. So this pen has a very strange design. I wouldn't say it is beautiful, but it is what it is and I like it for what it is. Sometimes I like what I call them ugly ducklings. They are not the most beautiful pens, I know that, but I love them anyway. So you can see the 3776, the P for platinum and 14 karat gold nib, medium. So it is a fun pen, also cartridge converter, but opposite to the other platinum 3776, it has a slip fit cap, clicks on place. So this is the platinum, some feedback because it is a platinum pen. Platinum 3776, gathered in black with a medium gold nib, and inside it has Sailor Studio 650. And this is really a very interesting pen. I think the click fit mechanism, instead of being a screw fit and have that slip and seal mechanism that they have, this one tends to dry when kept for some days without use, so that may happen. Be aware of that, but I would say this pen is very fun. You may try to find one. It's not that easy right now because I think Platinum discontinued this model. Now, speaking of a model that is discontinued, I have this one which I find a lot of fun, which is the Rotring 600. It is made of black, it is black, made of metal, and it has a medium steel nib, and it looks really like what? A Rotring pen with a red ring that makes it being called Rotring. So, this is the Rotring 600 in black with a medium steel nib, and inside it has the beautiful Montblanc William Shakespeare. I think that I'm using this William Shakespeare ink very often. Sometimes I'm using also this Red Robin in some pens because I had it for the review of the Inkvent calendar, but now I think whenever I think of a red ink I go for the William Shakespeare, so someday soon I'll be out of that ink, and I like it, but that's how life goes. I have many other inks around, so even red inks. So we'll move on. The next pen is a Sailor, also this kind of black pen with gold trim, Sailor 1911 large. I love Sailor nibs, both in performance and in the design and engraving. I think they are beautiful. Cartridge converter pens, converters don't take a lot of ink, it's better to ink the cartridges, although, yes, this one has the converter, but sometimes the cartridges are nicer to have more ink. So this is the Sailor 1911 in black, 1911 large in black with gold trim, and it is a, I don't know if you can see that, it is a hard medium with a hard medium nib, but you can have some flex with it, which is fun, with Sailor Gentle Southern. And I love the feedback, I love the noise this pen makes in writing, I love everything about this pen. This pen is really, really a nice model, and if you ask me of a pen that you could buy that would perform well, I would say the Sailor 1911 large is really, really a nice pen. The next one is also a Sailor, and it is the King of Pen, which is beautiful. It is bigger than the 1911 large. It has the same converter, so it seems it has less ink capacity because in a bigger pen it's stranger, and it has a bigger nib with the same kind of design, but it is a two-tone nib, and this is an amazing pen. I've been writing a lot with this pen. I think it's the pen that I'm going for, one of the top 5 pens that I'm going for the most. So this is the Sailor, King of Pen in dark champagne, and now I think it's running out of ink also. So this is something that sometimes happens. Let me just push I'm just trying to put the last remains of ink into the feed, so to see if the pen writes better. Maybe sometimes it's just out of ink, and when I push that, it pushes the air and moves some remains of ink. Champagne, so with, okay, now it's going well, with a medium nib that you can see I can do this kind of stuff, and it has inside the Mont Blanc. It has a 21 karat gold nib like the 1911 large. Mont Blanc Racing Green, and you can see the dramatic line variation I can have out of this pen. This pen is beautiful, gorgeous, amazing in every way, but too expensive. Maybe all the pens we use are too expensive, most of them. And we still have another Sailor pen, which is this one. I think we'll still have to go for a third page on this notebook. This is the Sailor. Yes, it is a pocket pen that reminds us of that Pilot Mio, because it is short barrel, long section, long cap. It is a Sailor pocket pen with a fine nib, very simple. It has Sailor written in one side, and inside it has the Parker Quink Black. This one also has lots of feedback, but it has no line variation, especially when compared with the previous one, the King of Pen. The next pen is a Centennial, which is also an amazing pen that I love a lot. It's really nice. It is a piston filler pen, and it has the white gold nib made by Centennial themselves. They make flexi nibs, but I don't like them, so I go with a stiff nib. It's very good. This is the Centennial Libra in olive color with a fine gold nib, and it has inside KWZ Oscar ink, which is an exclusive ink for Fonto Plumo. This pen, although has a gold nib, it has no line variation, because if you want to have line variation, you have to buy a flexi nib, and I got it with a regular nib. Now, let's go for the last pen. Sorry, I have to go through the camera with a box, and I have 6 pens there. Not sure if I have the room to do them. So one of them is this beautiful thing. This is a Sheaffer pen, and it has this beautiful nib, feather touch nib, 2-tone gold nib. So this is the Sheaffer, and I'm also running out of space on my memory card, so I need to hurry this a little. Crimson, so Sheaffer Balance 2, Crimson Glow. It is a cartridge converter pen. It's more a modern pen, maybe from 1990s, the end of 1990s, with a fine gold nib, and inside it has diamine, Inkvent calendar 2021, number 22 Black Ivy. Oops. And this is how it performs. No line variation, but it is a really nice writer. The next pen is also a pen that I like a lot. It's also a Sheaffer, but this is the other model, the Sheaffer Legacy. So this is Sheaffer Legacy 2, and I will change the page then. So I'm making this a little bit bigger. Linear matte black, because it has these matte black things. This nib is amazing, a medium gold nib, amazing writer, amazing in looking, made of gold, and it has Sheaffer script turquoise, and I really love this nib. It's not flexy, it's not bouncy, it's not anything special in that regard, but it is amazing nib that goes so well with this Sheaffer ink. Let me change the page again, and let's go for the final 4 pens. Another Sheaffer. The barrel wasn't screwing from the section. This one has a steel nib, same kind of shape, but it is a cheaper pen made of steel also. All the pen made of steel and the nib made of steel, except for the section. It is a cartridge converter pen. And this is the Sheaffer Triumph Imperial 444 in fine with diamine, inkvent calendar, number 11 festive joy. This pen writes very well, and this is the kind of pen that I will make someday a video comparing this one with a Parker 45 in steel, because I think this has some characteristics that are similar. It's a very good pen. The next pen should be previous from that, but I messed things up. It is in alphabetical order, it would be first, but I think there's no big problem. It is a Sheaffer No Nonsense in yellow. This is a loan from my friend Luis, and I'm keeping it for a long time. I love this pen, I love this yellow color. So this is the Sheaffer No Nonsense in yellow with a feedbacky nib that I really like. It is a medium nib made of steel, like this, with this shape, very classic shape, made of steel. It is a school pen, but it's very, very nice, with a vintage feel to it. And inside it has diamine Macassar, which is kind of a almost black brown ink. I really think this is an amazing pen with an amazing ink. This is a perfect combination to me. The final 2 pens. One is this. This is the beautiful Tibaldi Bononia in this beautiful, beautiful martini olive color. I love the color of this pen. I love so many stuff about the pen. Also, the steel nib is really good, very stiff but good, with the Tibaldi logo, which is half an eagle there, and then it has an ebonite feed. I think this pen, and it is a cartridge converter pen, it is wide, so it is very, very nice, at least for what I like in pens. So this is the Tibaldi Bononia in martini olive with a fine steel nib, and it has my favorite Mont Blanc Racing Green inside. And that's how it performs. This is really a lovely pen. And the last pen is this thing that is kind of a school pen that my parents gave me long ago, with a Waterman nib made of steel, gold-plated, fine nib, and a marbled green pattern which has no chatoyance, no depth, but it's kind of printed like that. It is a cartridge converter pen and it works nicely. And this is the Waterman Reflex, and I call it marbled green because I don't know any other name for it. And inside it has Visconti green and stiff nib, but performs really well. And I have to say that these were the pens that I have for today. I just want to say one or two things, very simple. I didn't prepare this anyway, but I just want to say that in these times that we are living, mostly in Europe now, I have to thank you for spending the time watching for such an less important topic as pens. We're just talking about pens. That's why today I didn't mention the name of the countries where the pens came from. I don't know if you noticed, I usually say. I didn't say that. I didn't want to say the names of countries because I don't think that matters. I think one thing that may matter is that there is a community of people that is spending their time thinking about pens, thinking about stuff they like. They like to do that with their own freedom to enjoy this stuff. And I think this is a way to be happy, to go over simple stuff and live with them with that kind of happiness. And I think that's nice. I have to thank you for watching to my video where I just talk about pens, such an important thing now when there is a war happening. But I think we need to think about positive things, and I just want to tell you, please think about nice stuff, think about peace and have peaceful moments. And this is all for today. Bye.